Good afternoon. On a weekend when snow and ice ruin the Football League programme, what about this? The green grass of Goodison, where Everton yesterday faced Newcastle United in a match of vital importance at the top of the First Division. Well, that's our feature match today. And contrast that with Luton's ground at Kenilworth Road yesterday morning. The match against Nottingham Forest called off. Well, you can see the state of the pitch for yourself. So we lost that second match. And that was certainly disappointing, but we've more than made up for that, I think, by raiding our archives. It's back to 1970, Spurs against Manchester United in the days of Best, Law, Charlton, Gilzean, Peters and Chivers. And at White Hart Lane on that day, there were certainly moments of high excitement.
Aim towards Chivers and Gilzean, and Chivers going in on it, Gilzean! Oh, what a save by Rimmer! How did he keep that out?
Well, that's certainly action that'll bring the memories flooding back. And also today, a special report on the important second division game between Huddersfield and Manchester City. But first, Everton against Newcastle United, and our commentator at Goodison Park is Peter Brackley.
While sadly Everton's Adrian Heath sits out the rest of the season with injury, the man he combined with so successfully up front continues to shine. Graham Sharp's 20 goals this season includes 7 in the last 6 matches, form that may well prompt further examination from Scotland's manager Jock Stein. The decision of Bobby Robson to overlook Goodison players in naming his England squad for next week's get-together can only enhance really Everton's determination today. The Everton side, which includes incidentally 6 players eligible for England, is the one that beat Leeds in the FA Cup last week. Pat Van den Hauwe established now as first choice at left-back ahead of John Bailey. Newcastle's Chris Waddle is in that England squad, of course, but his normal partner up front, Peter Beardsley, is out today with a stomach strain. So Ian Baird, in his last match on loan from Southampton, he wears the number 10 shirt. Glenn Roeder left out for Wednesday's Cup defeat by Forest. He's back today as an extra defender, and there's also a place in midfield for David McCreary. Today's referee is Ken Baker from Stoke-on-Trent. So Newcastle then to kick off from left to right. A real contrast in form between the two sides. Everton have won their last 4 matches. Newcastle just 2 in the last 11. Indeed, they haven't won away from home in the league since the opening day of the season at Leicester. The pitch in fine condition with Everton's under-soil heating. And most of the morning fog seems now to have lifted. Nixon brought down. Third time that he's played against one of his former clubs in the space of just a week. Taking the kick quickly too. The header down was only just wide from Brown. So a very positive opening there from Newcastle. Malcolm Brown with the header. And here's Van den Hauwe. Gray had made a good run across. Anderson's gone with him. Certainly Anderson and Clark have added some solidity to Newcastle's back 4. They've had defensive problems for most of the season. Jack Charlton's hoping he's got it right this time with Roeder as the extra man in defence. Falls for Gray. It was Sharp going in, and somehow Newcastle got it away. The danger was there with Sharp in front of goal. And that's exactly what he's beaten this season. Very sharp indeed. Sheedy, quarter of an hour gone. Perhaps Everton's best chance so far. Reed. I'll take encouragement from this. Gray with the cross in. Just too far for Sharp. And here's Sheedy. Beaten by Walker. Sheedy wanted too much time there. He felt he was trying to work the ball onto his left foot. We can see again how close Sharp was. Brave work again by Andy Gray. Sharp going in and Carr doing well. Saunders with the free kick for Newcastle. Here's Waddle. Now for Baird. Brown's arriving at the far post. Cross was too short. And easy really for Van den Hauwe to clear. Van den Hauwe referred now to John Bailey, and he's certainly added some quality to the Everton side since his arrival in September from Birmingham. Waddle. Harassed by Stephen. That was Reed. And he's won the throw. Certainly there's growing cohesion about this Everton side. Understanding that they've built up over the past year. And apart from injuries, it's been a very settled side with just one or two changes that Howard Kendall has made this season. Bringing in Van den Hauwe and Bracewell. This is Van den Hauwe now. It's great. Van den Hauwe. Sharp. Carr struggling. He couldn't reach it. And that's goal number 21 for Graham Sharp. Superbly created. Van den Hauwe's cross. And with 17 minutes gone, Everton have taken the lead. Marvellous header by Sharp. Carr was always struggling. And Everton go in front. Perfectly flighted cross there. And Sharp, the header beyond the reach of Kevin Carr. Nixon, as Newcastle look to bounce straight back again. Gray. Sharp, the goal scorer. Now Reid. Well, Graham Sharp has been quite brilliant this evening in tandem with Adrian Heath, now with Andy Gray. And he's certainly hoping that he'll catch the eye of John Stein, the Scotland manager. He's had just the one cap under 21 level. Can he break into the senior side? But away come Newcastle with Mixon. Good run here by Baird. Shadowed all the way by Mountfield. What an accomplished defender he's developing into. Gary Stevens. Now Reid. Bracewell, Rashidi. Such a creative midfield quartet. Van den Hauwe now joining the attack, away from Waddle. Cross it towards Gray. Sheedy going in, flags up. Stephen had it wide anyway, but the flag was already up. Linesman had spotted an offside. Again, Van den Hauwe, the man who made the first goal, sending over another difficult cross. But the flag was already up for offside. Waddle lost it. This is Reid now then for Everton. Stevens taking on Waddle. Now Trevor Stephen. Good play. Had it gone over? No. Just managed to keep it in play and then fouled by Saunders. We can safely say it's not a decision he agrees with. Rashidi then with the free kick. Gray and Sharp and Mountfield all look to be timing their runs from the edge of the area. Just Stephen ahead of them. Didn't quite reach Gray. Nixon got it away. Bracewell with Van den Hauwe outside him. Newcastle quickly streaming players back. There's Gray! Well, Andy Gray has scored only once this season. In fact, it was against Newcastle. His first match of the season, and it was a vital one too. The winning goal there in the 3-2 win, and he was close then to another one. Now for Waddle. He's drifted over to the Newcastle right. Just kept it in play. Still Waddle. Spotted Walton at the far post. The ball really was too long. Not much opportunity there for Kenny Walton. But a glimpse of Waddle's skill. Ratcliffe Mexon. What a splendid effort then by Gary Mexon. Caught it first time. And could have embarrassed Neville Southall. Gray. Referee waving play on. Though the linesman was flagging for a foul. Here's Gray. Now can Everton accept the advantage? Reed. Stevens. Both off full-backs taking the opportunity to come forward whenever they can. Stevens finding the left-back Vanden Hauwe. Now Ratcliffe. Saunders was caught there. Stephen turning it back and off Clark for the corner. In fact, it's Everton's first corner of the match, but Wes Saunders seemed to be dreaming there. So again, Newcastle have to contend with the height of Manfield, Gray, Sharp too, but this is Stevens. He's going to wriggle his way through, and he wins another corner. Sharp has stayed inside the 6-yard area. Mountfield, Gray, both making their run. There's Mountfield, and he scored! "32 minutes gone, and Derek Mountfield makes it 2-0 to Everton. And he's popped up on the score sheet quite often this season. A real scramble in there, Mountfield battling for it and just touching it past the goalkeeper. In fact, it's his 7th goal of the season, which is no bad return for a central defender. And just look at his determination there. The ball sneaking past Carr. Well, he got 2 at Sunderland the other week, which won that match there. And another one today. What a change the past year has made. Ratcliffe. Bracewell. Stephen going in and shot. Whistle's gone, offside. Shot disappointed. And as the flag was up before Sharp headed it in. Bracewell with the chip through. The challenge there by Stephen. And the flag was up before Sharp beat Kevin Carr. Vanden Hauwe, Bracewell. What an excellent combination. Now Reed. Still Everton displaying so much confidence. Stevens with the cross. Carr's come forward and lost it. And it was Sharp who steered it wide. Kevin Carr will feel he should have done better there. He stretched, but he couldn't reach it. And look for Sharp there at the far post, driving it wide. It really was a fine first half for Everton, who apart from the first few minutes have looked in complete control. The goals from Graham Sharp, his 21st of the season. He's leading the line with such mobility and style. And then from Derek Mountfield. And Newcastle really are looking hard-pressed to hold them. At half-time, it's Everton leading by 2-0. Everton then start the second half, hoping this season for their first championship since 1970. And certainly the signs of the first half are most encouraging. And I wonder if Newcastle will change their approach. They play with 5 at the back and just 2 up front. I don't think really that's enough adventure to haul themselves back into this game. We shall see. Reed giving it away there to Saunders. Bracewell, cut out though by Waddle. But there's the skill of the man. It really hasn't been his afternoon so far. He's unable to stamp any authority on the game. And he's looked rather dejected and dispirited at times. It's going to be a booking for McCreary. He went in hard and unfairly once too often. But I don't think he'll ever curb his aggression. He's such a hard worker too. Sheedy. And towards Gray. I think if anyone deserves a goal this afternoon, it's Andy Gray. His timing on the cross then was quite superb. Baird with the flick on. It's Van den Houw. Trevor Stephen playing against the club he supported as a boy. Newcastle, he lived in Berwick, used to go to watch Newcastle's matches as it was the nearest English club. Stephen in well. Gray. Roda had come across to thwart his run. And Stevens will again look for the long throw towards Sharp. There he is, just on the edge of the 6-yard box. Got the flick on to Sheedy. Carr was in the right place. Just as well for Newcastle that he was. Sheedy sneaking across. That seemed to strike an arm then of Gary Stevens. No free kick given. And now we can see the replay again there. Sharp jumping there. I think it came off the defender though, and Sheedy's header, and Carr on the near post. Well, it was a brave challenge by Ian Baird. Certainly the Newcastle front two have got little change out of Everton's back four. Ian Baird, who's due to return to Southampton, although I understand negotiations are still going on in the hope that he might be able to join Newcastle on a permanent basis. Ratcliffe then with the free kick. Up goes Sharp, knocking it down. Sheedy! Could so easily have beaten 3. Kevin Sheedy with 8 goals so far this season. Doesn't he strike a ball sweetly? But again, Newcastle struggling in the air. Sharp with the header down and just past the far post. Sharp knocking it on for Stephen. Bracewell was in the middle. Straight to McCreary. Now Walk caught in possession though by Stevens. Everton free kick as Bracewell goes down. Perhaps a chance for Kevin Sheedy to curl one in, though he is some way out. In fact, it's Reed with the kick. Bracewell now then for Sheedy. Can he finish it off here? Magnificently done. What a cool piece of finishing by Kevin Sheedy. He's playing so well this season. So much dejection for him when he missed out on the cup final last season through injury. But my word, he's having some season here. And that's magnificently tucked away. 62 minutes. And Kevin Sheedy's 9th goal of the season has given Everton a 3-0 lead. And it's fully deserved. Now Reed. Still Reed. So hard to dispossess. Gray. Stephen. It's a poor cross. Acknowledged by Stephen. Newcastle now thinking about a substitution. Kevin McDonald waiting over by the bench. Kevin McDonald, or Gary as Jack Charlton calls him. He's not too good on names, is Jack. In fact, it's John Anderson who is coming off. So Jack Charlton throwing his last card in, really, taking off a defender and sending on Neil MacDonald, who is a midfield player. Gray, unmarked. Chance, Reed. Off the line by Roda. Disappointment there for Peter Reed, who doesn't score all that often. He nearly managed it there. Gray left unmarked at the far post. Newcastle in disarray, and it came off Roda there, the shot from Reed. Stephen with the corner. Here's Sheedy. Vanden Howe is the Everton player who made his way over the near side here. Well, there is a school of thought that Peter Reed is worth a place in the England side, and without wishing to tell Bobby Robson how to do his job, because I know he's upset that a lot of people are doing that at the moment, he really is in magnificent form. Up goes Gray again, climbing so well. Gary Stevens. Appeals from the Everton players, nothing given. The referee was perfectly placed and saw nothing wrong. Bracewell. Now for Sheedy. Dead. It's caught though by Stephen. Stevens. Up goes Gray. Delicate flick on. A neat interchange too with Sharp. Now Stephen. Reed. Sheedy. Well, the build-up was brilliant. Glorious interchange of passes there by Everton. They really are playing some exhilarating stuff this afternoon, and Sheedy couldn't quite finish it. Reed. Here's Sharp. Gray's gone into the middle. Came off Clark for a throw. Stevens again will look for Sharp. Just on the edge there of that 6-yard area. Stephen. For a poor clearance by Saunders. Here's Sheedy. Sorted up, taking on Brown for a second, but here's Vanden Howe. Past the goalkeeper. Away by Clark for the corner. Carr had gone to the near post. The cross eluded him. Fortunately for Newcastle, Clark was on the line. Again, the build-up impressive. A great save. Marvellous save then by Carr. Stevens with the shot. And Carr certainly produced a miraculous save then to deny Gary Stevens. Hasn't had the happiest of afternoons, but he'll have enjoyed that moment. Sheedy, the long corner. Vanden Howe going in. MacDonald. Beaten though by Mountfield. And a goal kick to Newcastle. Stevens. Gray's made his run into the area. Almost got off the end of that cross. Roda to the rescue. Vanden Howe. Reed. Sharp very much involved. Here he is again. Bracewell. Now for Stevens. Newcastle at full stretch here. Stevens making for the line. Sheedy's header. Shot. In off Sheedy. Sheedy's got it. His second of the game. Less than 4 minutes remaining. And Kevin Sheedy makes it 4-0. Stevens there with the cross. Headed down was Sharp. And Sheedy in off the post. What an afternoon Kevin Sheedy is having. And the cry now around Goodison Park is for Everton. At times they've been quite exhilarating this afternoon, Everton. And how the crowd have relished their performance. They're shouting now, we're going to win the league. It's early days yet. I certainly wouldn't bet against them at this stage. Ratcliffe now. Now for Gray. Can Everton make it 5 here in the dying seconds? I don't think so. There indeed goes the final whistle. Another highly convincing performance here from an Everton side that's proved again today it has the quality, surely, to last the pace. Graham Sharp, Kevin Mountfield and Kevin Sheedy with 2 goals, giving them this 4-0 win today, and Everton supporters will stream away in thoroughly happy mood. 2 goals for Kevin Sheedy, and Everton have beaten Newcastle here, a rather dispirited Newcastle side, by 4 goals to 0.
A delightful football, fine victory gives Everton a 2-point lead at the top. Spurs held 2-2 at QPR. Sheffield Wednesday now on the same points as Manchester United. A bad day for them, losing at home to Coventry. And United also losing skipper Brian Robson injured. He spent last night in hospital with a badly dislocated shoulder. Seems he'll be out for at least 6 weeks. Now it's the second division, a special report on the match between Huddersfield and Manchester City. 2 teams who've arrived in the top 6 with every thought now geared to promotion to the first division. John Helm reports.
60 years ago, Huddersfield were the most feared team in the land. Not many clubs came to this Pennine stronghold among the hills and mills and took anything away, other than memories of Herbert Chapman's almost invincible side. The Cup was won in 1922, the league title in 24, 25 and 26. That feat was honoured by the Football League through the presentation to the club of this commemorative shield. Well, this is Huddersfield's 75th year of league membership, and a new book written by club secretary George Binns was issued before Christmas. The 5,000 copies literally went like hot cakes, and more are being printed. Tradition dies hard here, and Huddersfield are one of the few clubs still performing a Loving Cup ceremony, which dates back to the coronation of King George VI and Queen Elizabeth in 1937.
The Queen and football.
Queen and football. Thank you. The Queen and football.
We won the championship that year.
One of Manchester City's keenest fans is Mark Lillis, Huddersfield's captain for the day. Lillis had 12 tickets for the game, 10 of them for friends who support City. The enforced absence of regular skipper Paul Jones meant there was a place in the Huddersfield defence for Stephen Stout, who's only a part-timer at Leeds Road. He's also a member of the local fire service. The first emergency he had to attend to came when a huge gap appeared for Gordon Smith to run into, and his shot was deflected for a corner by Stout. City dominated the opening minutes and pieced together a delightful move which would have produced a goal for David Phillips, but for the bravery of Brian Cox. Huddersfield's first chance was presented them by City keeper Alex Williams, who conceded the free kick, but he quickly made amends. Graham Cooper's blistering shot produced a save of spectacular quality. City began the second half as impressively as they had the first, and Andy May instigated an opening for Gordon Smith. After the first shot was blocked, Ken McNaught thought he'd made the breakthrough, but up popped Lillis to clear off the line. Huddersfield haven't figured in a goalless draw this season, but quite how they managed to survive in one furious flurry, they'll never know. But by getting bodies and legs in the way, they did somehow. The next time they got themselves in a tangle, though, there was no escape. Clive Wilson won possession in the Huddersfield box, and although Cox again did manfully to save Melrose' effort, there was no denying Gordon Smith, who hammered in the rebound, much to the undisguised joy of the City fans. Steve Kinsey nearly put everybody out of their misery with this fine effort, but eventually Clive Wilson did. when he drove in the second goal despite Cox's despairing dive. The smile said it all. A convincing win this for City.
Indeed, splendid stuff. Manchester City now go 4th in the table. Well, as I told you earlier, our programme today has been hit by the bad weather, so a little touch of nostalgia. We've dusted off the archives and come up with a match that brings back so many memories. It's December 1970, and it's Tottenham against Manchester United. And what about the team sheet? Well, many of the 55,000 crowd at White Hart Lane drawn by the presence of Best. Steve Perryman still going strong for the club. Marvellous names like Gilzean, Chivers, Peters, Mullery, and England. And for United, Jimmy Rimmer, now Swansea in goal, along with Law, Best, Charlton and company. And in the crowd, the England manager of the time, Sir Alf Ramsey.
Oh, Best in a bit of space. Beale jogging alongside him. Kidd has made the burst, and a good burst too. Perryman right back, and a corner to Manchester United. And pushed away and over the line, says the linesman, and the goal is given, and it's Sadler who has scored it. No, not given. Not given. Wilf McGuinness, I think, must have been a little disappointed that the goal he thought had been given and then it wasn't. Bobby Charlton. Aston, number 11, and Knowles watching him. Kidd looking for that one, and Law! There it is by Dennis Law! Well, would you believe it? For 30 minutes they're outclassed, and then in a flash, Law puts Manchester United in front. What an astonishing turnabout, but what a superb piece of opportunism by Dennis Law. England. Nobody can doubt that Dennis Law, 8 seasons at Manchester United, they really have been 8 most exciting seasons for everybody who's watched him. Knowles now to Pearce, a Spurs storm back, and Chivers almost putting it through. What a save, though, by Rimmer to get down as quickly as that. Knowles. For Mullery again, and Knowles once more. Aim towards Chivers and Gilzean, and Chivers going in on it, Gilzean! Oh, what a save by Rimmer! How did he keep that out? Brian Kidd to George Best. Fitzpatrick. Best going in on it, Best! Oh, beautifully taken by Best! What a magnificent goal by Best! What a magnificent goal that destroyed that Tottenham defence. He started it off and then took it beautifully on his body round that Spurs defence and made it number 2. Cyril Knowles. Chivers looking to make a run towards it, but in fact it's Perryman now. Pearce, Knowles again with a chance to lift it once more. Peters waiting at that far side, getting it in! Martin Peters! 2-1! Well, that really does open it up again. Knowles for the umpteenth time putting it across that Manchester United goal mouth. And there, lifting himself above the ruck, Martin Peters, to make it 2-1. One that even Jimmy Rimmer couldn't stop. Crowd, I think, claiming that Chivers was pushed again there by James, but it's Spurs in possession once more, and they're very intelligently spreading this game out as wide as they can. Now it's Knowles turning it in. Oh, Gilzean! 2-2! What a goal by Gilzean! Oh, and what a comeback by Tottenham! Again, the cross from the left. And again, Gilzean with that head of his to flick it wide of Rimmer. Chivers. Pierce to Mallory. Wide there for Knowles. This is where the goals have come from. And across that goal and just past that post as the crowd tumbles down behind it. And it needed the merest touch to make it 3-2 to Tottenham. And a United player down injured. And Steve James and Fitzpatrick and Law. There's a fight, in fact, between the United players on the field. Angry with each other. And Dennis Law in the middle of it. David Sadler as well. Angry, obviously, with Mallory, who is acting very wisely and sensibly as a peacemaker. But obviously Law, full of anger and anguish that this 2-goal lead should have been lost. And there, at the end, exactly as it should finish. Gilzine. Peters. First time across that goal. Pierce at the far side. It wouldn't reach him, so it's Mallory to drive it just over. And now, Willie Watson looping it into that Spurs penalty area. Fitzpatrick there, Law with one of those jackknife headers once more. Knowles. Pierce neatly slipping it inside. Perryman, a beautiful ball by Perryman to Knowles. And now there are plenty of white men waiting for it amongst them. Peters and Gilzine! Oh, just passed off the knees of Chivers.
I wonder who that shouting commentator was. It finished in a 2-2 draw, and I'm sure that's brought back a whole host of memories. Well, that's it for this weekend, a weekend when Everton went clear at the top of the First Division. Good afternoon.
Great. Van den Houw. Sharp. Carl struggling. He couldn't reach it. Mountfield, Gray, both making their run. There's Mountfield, and he scored. Bracewell, now then for Sheedy. Can he finish it off here? Magnificently done. Newcastle at full stretch here. Stevens making for the line. Sheedy's header. Sharp. In off Sheedy.